Hello everyone, welcome to History Talks, a program dedicated to exploring the past, airing every night at 9 p.m. on Mr. Hung's channel. During the years of the resistance against America, the Cambodian riel played an incredibly important role in purchasing weapons, food, and supplies to send to the battlefields of southern Vietnam. Everything went smoothly under King Sihanouk's rule. But in 1970, after Lon Nol's coup, things became far more complicated. Specifically, Lon Nol issued new currency rendering all the old Cambodian riel that Vietnam held completely worthless. Lon Nol even had leaflets printed to announce the currency exchange. The manager of the printing house, Tran Tre Nang, knew exactly what was happening. The problem was Lon Nol's army had already surrounded the entire facility, so he had no way to alert his comrades. Fortunately, in that critical moment, Tran Tre Nang's wife was still able to move around freely. Because she was Cambodian, no one suspected her. Taking advantage of that, Tran Tre Nang secretly told her to warn the Vietnamese soldiers to bring all their riel back into Cambodia for exchange. Thanks to that move, the currency exchange mission was a complete success. But now came an even harder problem. Not having money was bad enough, but having too much money was even worse. Lon Nol's government was raiding every location suspected of housing Vietnamese operations. If anyone was caught carrying that much cash, death was certain. Yet bringing the money back to Vietnam for safekeeping was impossible since all the routes had been sealed off. And without money for weapons, food, or supplies, our forces couldn't survive. They had the cash, but no way to transport it. Move it and die. Keep it and die. At that point, Secretary Pham Hung of the Central Office of the South gave a direct order. At all costs, the money must be brought back to Vietnam. The two men in charge of this impossible mission were Nguyen Minh Chau and Tu Can. To get the money through Lon Nol's tight military checkpoints, they came up with a bold idea: pack the cash inside large sacks, line the outside with another layer, and then fill the rest with prahok, the traditional Khmer fermented fish paste, with a notoriously pungent smell. Even from a distance, the stench was overwhelming. The soldiers were confident in their plan stuff. The money inside pierced a few holes so the fish sauce could leak out, and no one would dare touch those bags once they smelled them. Still, there was a backup plan. If they were stopped for inspection at any checkpoint, 140 armed soldiers were lying in ambush nearby, ready to fight to the death, to protect those stinking fish paste barrels. Thankfully, the second plan wasn't needed. Everything went exactly as predicted. The smell was so unbearable that Lon Nol's soldiers waved them through without hesitation. That's how an enormous sum of money made it safely back. But the situation soon turned worse. Most of our bases and safe houses in Cambodia had been discovered and destroyed. Yet the war still needed funding to continue. Every key member of the financial network had already been exposed except for one man, Nguyen Minh Chau. His mission now was to return from Cambodia to Saigon, rebuild the network, and continue supporting the revolution. But the big question was how to get there without being caught. As an honest, law-abiding man, he needed legal identification to enter Saigon. Without it, there was no way in. So how could he get a legal ID? Chau devised a clever plan. He would pretend to be an overseas Vietnamese who had been separated from his family. He visited a Vietnamese family living near the Cambodian border and asked the homeowner to take him by boat to their relative's house in the south. Once there, he asked them to bring him to the village chief to explain his situation. With an introduction from a trusted local, it seemed easy enough to get legal papers. But the village chief remained suspicious. He demanded proof: birthplace, occupation, family background in Cambodia, official documents, even photos of his wife and children. Luckily, Chow had everything. He presented photos with his family and business licenses from his import-export company in Phnom Penh. Despite all this solid evidence, the chief still didn't believe him and sent him to the police headquarters for interrogation. That was the toughest trial. The police were among the sharpest minds of the Saigon government. They questioned him in Cambodian English and French, but Chow was fluent in all three. He answered every question smoothly and consistently. After a month and 4 days of interrogation, the police couldn't find a single inconsistency in his story. Finally, they granted him legal citizenship status, allowing him to operate freely in Saigon. Chow's ability to conceal his mission was so extraordinary that even after he was officially recognized as a Saigon citizen, the village chief himself came to say, "Everyone's saying you're Viet Cong, but you're clearly a businessman." A businessman can't be Viet Cong, and someone who speaks so many foreign languages impossible. Because of the brilliance and courage of officers like Nguyen Minh Chow, the existence of this secret money route remained completely unknown even to the CIA. American intelligence admitted that while they had partial knowledge of the Ho Chi Minh Trail on land and sea, they had no record or report whatsoever about this financial supply line. They knew Vietnam somehow transferred funds, but had no idea how. It's no surprise that even the sharpest minds in the CIA couldn't figure it out. It was so secret that even our own people barely knew it existed. Decades after the war, the story finally came to light. On April 28, 2009, the President of Vietnam awarded the title Hero of the People's Armed Forces to the 3 special financial units of the Central Office for the South Account, number N26683 under the State Bank of Vietnam, and to the Special Fund of the State Bank of Vietnam for their exceptional contributions during the resistance against the United States. And with that, today's History Talks episode comes to an end. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Let's get this channel to 1 million subscribers soon.